Ohio State should give Jeremiah Smith even more targets to unlock the full potential of the Buckeyes offense.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, it's another Victory Monday around here at Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Simply visit FanDuel.com to get started. During today's show, I will unveil one word that I think we can all use to describe the Buckeyes defense and what Will Howard has done every game this year, as well as Jeremiah Smith needing to be a bigger part of Ohio State's game plan. Every week we talk about Ohio State needing to put an emphasis on establishing the run and the run game, but also you got to put Jeremiah Smith into that equation too, because Jeremiah Smith needs more targets every game, every week. It doesn't matter if it's Penn State, doesn't matter if it's Oregon, doesn't matter if it's Michigan. He needs more targets. A few days ago against Purdue, he had 7 targets, 6 catches. One of them was a touchdown. Added in 87 yards as well, 14 and a half yards of reception. That's really good. I mean, I'm not lying. That's actually really, really good for anybody, true freshman or a fifth-year senior. That's great. But Jeremiah Smith, one thing he has showed us this year is that when you target him, he's going to get the ball. There are times that maybe he might not be the first read on a play, but he might get open. There was a time over the weekend that Jeremiah Smith put a move on the defender, and he was wide open deep. All Will Howard had to do was throw that ball, maybe put a little bit more oomph on it. It's going to get there to Jeremiah Smith, and he's literally walking into the end zone. And Jeremiah Smith, we talk about him in such a way that you don't talk about true freshmen, because he is now the guy that holds all the records for freshman receivers at Ohio State. Most receiving yards, most receptions, most receiving touchdowns. Chris Carter used to hold all 3 records. Jeremiah Smith now holds all 3 records, and he has a lot more games to play. So it's very likely that this record might be untouched for another 30 years because of what Jeremiah Smith is doing this year. You have seen him. You believe in him. You know that when he's out there, it doesn't matter who is guarding him. He's going to find a way to get open. Cover 3, cover 2, bracket, 2 high safety, single, whatever the defense is. Jeremiah Smith is going to be a guy that's going to get the ball, going to catch it, and he's very, very solid. Then you add in that he's 6'3", about 215, and once he gets into the open field, nobody can catch him. But also, he's kind of a security blanket for any quarterback, that if you're in a pinch, if you need to get the ball to somebody that's a sure-handed guy, that's Jeremiah Smith as a true freshman. And as I'm talking about, and you're probably thinking, man, Jay, if he's that good, wouldn't you think he would get more targets? Yes, but here's the issue. It's not a bad thing to have Emeka Egbuka. Not a bad thing to have Carnell Tate or Brandon Ennis. That's not bad at all. And when Ohio State has those guys at receiver, but also you have Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson in the backfield, you may say, hey, man, if he don't get 10 targets a game, is that crazy? Yeah, he's that good. If you make Jeremiah Smith the main guy in your offense, saying, this is one thing we have to do every single game, is get him 10 targets, that's going to make things so much easier for everybody else. On Saturday, Emeka Egbuka only had 1 catch. Carnell Tate had 6 over the weekend, and he also had 7 targets as well. So he was targeted as many times as Jeremiah Smith. I'm not mad about that. I'm really not mad about him not getting 10 targets a game. I'm just sitting here saying there's a level that Ohio State's offense has not tapped into this year. We have seen Will Howard do some good things, some different things than normal. We have seen better play from Travion Henderson, and him being paired with Quinshon Judkins is great. But I still believe the Buckeyes offense has a different level, a better level that it can go to, and targeting Jeremiah Smith more and making sure he gets 10 targets a game is an easy way to take the Buckeyes offense to the next level. Now, you may want to say, Jay, you're crazy. Okay? I might say I'm crazy. I know that I'm not all the way there in the head at times, but just think for a second about what it would mean for Ohio State's offense if this young man got 10 targets. Think about how much easier that makes Will Howard's job. Think about how much easier that makes Chip Kelly's job as a play caller and a guy that you know is trying to find everything in every way he can to exploit every hole on the opposition's defense. And if you're targeting your best guy on offense to get him the ball more, one, you're checking off a box. Is Jeremiah Smith getting targeted enough? Probably. Some may say no, some may say yes. But realistically, if you look in the grand scheme of things all year, yeah, maybe game 1, game 2, you may not give him as many targets as you will now. But all of a sudden, you're saying, nah, he's not. So how can we get him the ball more? What changes do we have to make to get him the ball more? Maybe it's simply calling different plays. Maybe it's different personnel grouping saying, well, I want to run this play, but the personnel is not ideal for that play when it's going to Jeremiah Smith. So let's alter things a little bit. Whatever you got to do, get him the ball more. One thing Jeremiah Smith has done this year has gotten into the end zone a lot. He has scored a touchdown in all but one game this year. That one game was a week ago. He's had 6 games where he's had at least 5 receptions. He's had 1 touchdown in 8 games this year, and he's had 100 plus receiving yards or more twice as a true freshman. And I only had that last part in there because I think it's context we all have to remember. When I come on here and say, yeah, give Jeremiah Smith the ball more, and he's a true freshman, there are people out there that might push back on that and say, no, don't do it. But we're so deep into the season, we have enough games played to say, no, he does. If you're on a basketball team or if you're on a baseball team, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get that 3, 4, 5 spot to where it needs to be. You're trying to get the leadoff guy, somebody that fits that skill set. You want to make sure that's correct. If you don't have the right leadoff guy, things might not go the way you want to with your batting order. Now, you may still win games, but maybe there's a level and there's more potential with the lineup being tweaked just a little bit. In a basketball court, you know when you look out there at a basketball game, what guy needs the ball in crunch time. I mean, it's clear. Do you think Michael Jordan would have let some guy out here, Randy Brown? Randy Brown was in the NBA, so don't get me wrong. But Randy Brown's not Michael Jordan. Do you think that Michael Jordan would have been cool with Phil Jackson saying, hey, Mike, you're going to be on the court, or putting the ball in Randy Brown's hand to let him go out there and get the job done? Michael Jordan would not have let that, like if that was a call, Michael Jordan would have shifted that thing quickly and said, no, we're not running that. We're not going to do that. Give me the rock. I'm the reason we're here. Give me the rock. And we have seen Jeremiah Smith talk back a little bit, be a little bit chirpy on the field. I love that. We all know the cats down in South Florida are built a little bit different. Jeremiah Smith is from that area, and he's built a little bit different. And so I'm not mad about him being chirpy. And there's going to be moments, maybe in a couple weeks against Indiana, maybe against Michigan, maybe in a potential rematch against Oregon, where Ohio State needs to rely on somebody to move the ball down the field, put the ball in number 4's hands. A lot of y'all trust number 18 to get the job done. Some of y'all trust number 32 and number 1. Cool. You probably trust number 4 too. If you need the ball to move down the field and you want to do it through the air, target number 4. Trust me in this one. He'll get the job done. Don't look at his years of service in college football or any of that because that's irrelevant. Number 4 gets the job done every day of the week and twice on Sunday, which is a big reason why the Buckeyes have offense at a level it can go to. More potential with this unit, and the easy way to do that is to target Jeremiah Smith and to get number 4, the rock. One thing Will Howard does when he has a rock in his hand is be very productive, and his productivity has led him to do one thing every game this year. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets If you win your first $5 bet, simply visit FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. Will Howard's decision to transfer to Ohio State has been a breath of fresh air this year after the quarterback play that Ohio State got a year ago. Kyle McCord is not atrocious, but there were some things that he did not provide for the Buckeyes offense that Will Howard is providing this year. In every game this year, Will Howard has done one thing very, very well, that's get into the end zone. He has scored multiple touchdowns in every game this year at Ohio State. There was one game, I believe was the second game of the year, that he had one passing touchdown and one rushing touchdown. That rushing touchdown was also his only carry that day against Western Michigan. And that's one thing that Ohio State needs from their starting quarterback, is that he is going to consistently find a way to get the ball in the end zone. Maybe with his legs, maybe with his arm, but he's going to get that done. And moving forward against Northwestern, against Indiana, against Michigan, you need a guy at quarterback that you can trust to get the ball in the end zone. In any way, on the ground, through the air, doesn't matter. But also while he's doing it, he's making the right decisions. Now, there are times that he does not get the right decision all the time, but those are rare, and they're becoming more rare the later we get into the season. Yeah, there are times this past weekend where he didn't make the right play. He still scored on that play, on that series, so the Buckeyes still scored. So if he's moving the ball down the field and the Buckeyes are taking care of business against a bad opponent in Purdue, you're good with that. But also, if there is a mistake on the play on that series, it's not getting him off of his rocker. It's not messing him up. He is still able to stay poised, stay level-headed to move the ball down the field. Think about what we're talking about with Will Howard here, because what we're saying with Will Howard is not normal. If I was Will Howard in Will Howard's shoes and there was a play, it was a read option, literally out loud, I was watching the game and I said, that was a bad read. And it may have been before the play was over, but I'm like, hey, man, if you simply hand the ball off, homie's walking into the end zone, the running back, I forget who it was on this play, but they would have had a free and clear path to the end zone. Will Howard kept the ball. Ended up being, I believe, a negative play at that time. Eventually, the Buckeyes still scored on that drive, but Buckeyes and Will Howard didn't lose focus. Offensive line, anybody out there, any 11 on the field for the offense on the rest of the drive, nobody lost focus. Nobody said, oh, this is one thing that's going to mess us up. No, nobody lost focus. Everybody stayed and did exactly what they needed to do, which is trust the process. Now, we heard that a lot with Joel Embiid, and so trust the process might have a different meaning for some of us that are, or some of you that might be 76ers fans. Sorry for you. It's not a bad franchise, but when you trust the process and the process doesn't get you the results that you believe the process is going to get you, that can be very frustrating. And so I know a lot of you that may say, man, he said trust the process, and the process didn't get us nowhere. Got you to a better place than you were in previously. So the process did do something productive. And the process for Will Howard is to simply just not let that negative play that just happened cause him to lose focus. Doesn't matter if it's an interception thrown against Penn State. Doesn't matter if it was a fumble within 5 yards of the goal line against Penn State. Doesn't matter if it's a bad read against Purdue. Doesn't matter what it is. Will Howard has found a way to stay level-headed, to stay poised, and to stay focused, even when sometimes your natural instinct is to fold in, throw in the towel, and say, I'm done, it's over. You may still play the game, but you're not mentally in there. I have seen guys out there at the quarterback position literally fold right in front of our eyes because they're not able to stay level-headed, and they allow the abnormal circumstances of the game to cause them to mess up. Not stay mentally focused. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. I was actually at a game Friday night, sectional championship between two really good football teams. And the school that I was there to cover, at least the school I cover mainly in the county, they had a quarterback who was a sophomore. And he at times gets a little rattled. Talked to the coach previously in the season, and he shifted some things to help the quarterback kind of not have to think. Kind of took some of the control that the quarterback has a little bit and says, no, I'll control this for you. You just go out there and play football. And I literally saw him in a big time game, a trophy game, a game that his school had never won. Once they got to this round of the tournament, they had never won that in the history of the football program at the school. Pressure was mounting, man. Pressure was getting to him, and his team started to pick him up. I'm not knocking the young man. I'm just saying there are times out there that sometimes the pressure gets to you and you start making bad throws, bad reads, bad decisions. And I saw some of the juniors and seniors that are his boys literally talking to him on the sidelines and trying to pick him up and saying, hey, man, keep your head up. It's a long game. We got more football to play, and they're doing that with him. When Will Howard messes up, you ain't got to rely on anybody else to go over there to say and to need to pick him up. He's already there. I don't know what kind of superpower this man attained throughout his career, but I need that in my life, man. I want the superpower to where when I mess up, I stay mentally focused. I don't get down on myself. I don't throw in the towel. I want the superpower that Will Howard has, because that's a big reason why the Buckeyes offense, when unforeseen obstacles are right in front of them, they don't stop them. The Buckeyes go over them, maybe go around them, but they don't allow that unforeseen obstacle to mess them up because their quarterback isn't fazed by it. The Buckeyes quarterback doesn't worry about the bad. He's looking for the next play. He's worried about how can I get better? How can I eliminate that mistake that I just made to allow us to be better as a team, allow me to be a better quarterback? That's what his focus is. And so it's fun watching Will Howard play football. I didn't expect this from Will Howard this year. I'm not going to lie. We're deep enough into the season that our preseason, we're way too deep in the season for our preseason thoughts to really be impacting our analysis now. But we're so deep into the season that people may still be trying to lean on their preseason analysis. That's what we call hashtag poor analysis, because there's too much film to do that. And Will Howard, I didn't expect this from him. I didn't expect him this season. I expected a career year. But, baby, he's a 74% passer for the season. 2,200 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 5 INTs. I wasn't expecting that. Add in 6 rushing touchdowns. Will Howard might end up having 10 rushing touchdowns in the regular season. Might end up having maybe 30-plus passing touchdowns in the regular season. And he's going to go over the 3,000-yard mark in the regular season. I have no desire to say anything else about what I think he's going to do based off what he's done so far. And his accuracy, his ability to knock down the short to intermediate passes is a thing of beauty. And the fact that his deep ball is getting better, it's not consistently improved to the level that you want it to be, but it's getting better. That's just going to give the Buckeyes more confidence as they work on targeting, not really work on, just targeting Jeremiah Smith more. Will Howard's going to be a guy, you need a couple touchdowns a game, he can get that done. You need your quarterback to stay poised, he can get that done. You need to get your number one receiver more targets, he'll tackle that too. Whatever the obstacle, number 18 is going to get that job done, and he's not going to allow the obstacle to get him off of his of the game plan, which is moving the ball down the field and scoring more and more touchdowns. Scoring more touchdowns is one thing opposing offenses have really struggled to do against the Buckeyes defense of late, which gives me a lot of confidence about what the Buckeyes defense will do throughout the rest of the year. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Maybe some of you are looking to get tickets to one of the final 2 home games during the regular season, the home game against IU or the home game against the team up north. No matter what it is, tickets are expensive, but if you're looking for a place that's going to allow you to save some money and make the ticket purchasing process really, really easy and allow ticket coverage as well, Game Time is your place, because they allow you to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Thank you all for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. as I was trying to figure out what to say to talk about Ohio State's defense, it goes to something that I started to say earlier in the year and that we saw in the middle of the year. Man, the defense might be getting exposed. Then after the Oregon game, there was that Nebraska game, there was the game against Penn State, and there was the game against Purdue. And in that stretch, those 3 games, the Buckeyes defense has only given up 1 touchdown. It was a 1-yard run in the fourth quarter in the game against Nebraska. The past 2 games, the Buckeyes haven't given up a touchdown at all. The Buckeyes are playing elite defense right now, and I expect Ohio State to play elite defense going forward. Northwestern coming up. The Buckeyes are 30-plus point favorites. Don't know the exact line, but they're going to blow out the Wildcats in Wrigley Field. It's going to be no contest. But going forward against Indiana, against Michigan. Michigan's a bad football team, but in that game, you throw the records out the window. Undefeated Wolverines team or a sub-500 Wolverines team, and that Wolverines team that day might be trying to get bowl eligible. So you already know they're going to try to throw the kitchen sink at Ohio State to try to make sure they do whatever they can to get bowl eligible in this year after winning the national championship. And so on that game, in that day, Ohio State's defense already knows, hey, will it be used? Will Michigan use Mullings a little bit more? Will it be Donovan Edwards? Will it be Davis Warren? Will it be Alex Orji? It really don't matter. You know this. They're going to try to be more physical than you. And what Ohio State has showed recently, it doesn't matter who the opponent is, especially against Penn State. We saw the team be very, very, very physical, way more physical than expected. They're playing elite. Things you want from an elite defense. You want physical play up front. Front 7, front 6, don't matter. Linebackers and D-line, you want them to be physical. They got that. You want your defense to get pressure on the quarterback. Yes, you want that primarily with your front guys, but if you have to use others to get pressure on the quarterback, you want to be able to do that. They're doing that right now. You want linebackers that can play good in run to stop the run and really good in pass coverage. They're there. You want linebackers that can go sideline to sideline, that shift and have great instincts. They're there. You want a secondary that's solid all the way around. Not saying it's bulletproof, but you want guys that are solid all the way around. You got that. Now, having that's one thing. Being able to put that out there on the field is another. And so far, what we have seen from Ohio State right now is you're putting an elite defense out there on the field after re-engineering some things and even experimenting a week ago. The Buckeyes have shown, man, we're playing elite ball on defense. It's going to be very, very, very for anybody to score in Ohio State. Northwestern, if they score, will I get mad? No. Indiana or Michigan, if they score, will I get mad? Well, Michigan's different. That's just a different game. But no, I won't get mad. Like, it's very, very hard to hold anybody to not scoring a touchdown. It's very hard. So, no, I'm not going to get mad if a bad team in Northwestern scores or if a really good top 5 team right now, can't believe I'm saying that, a top 5 team in IU, if they score a touchdown, I'm not going to get mad. No. But I will start getting upset if Ohio State's defense all of a sudden doesn't stick to their keys, doesn't stay gap sound, doesn't have the same ability and same ranginess with the linebackers that they've had previously. If the secondary is not solid, then I'll start to get upset. But one of the best things about this defense is you have guys at every level that are having great years. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I don't really need to. You can think about this. Jaylahn Tuimoloau having a phenomenal year after he has been challenged at the end of last year where people kept talking about Jack Sawyer, the way Sawyer's second half of the year went. People said, what happened to Tuimoloau? Did he kind of fold in? He didn't fold. He didn't just throw in the towel, but Sawyer played great. I mean, people should have been talking about it. We talked about him here. But Jaylahn Tuimoloau is kind of taking it personal about people saying Buckeyes need more pressure on the quarterback, more tackles in the backfield. He's taking it a little bit personal. I'm not mad about him for that either. I am truly not. I think that you need to take things like that very, very personal. And his numbers, as I pull them up here quickly, they back up that Tuimoloau is doing things great. He has 30 tackles on the year, 10 TFLs, 5 sacks through 9 games. And he's not a sack artist. Like, no one expects him to be a Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa or a Chase Young. No, that's not his game. But if he has 5 sacks through 9 games, he's probably going to end the year with double-digit sacks for the first time in his career. He's probably going to end the year with 12 to 15, probably 12 to 15 TFLs. What does that do? Help the Buckeyes defense, and it helps raise his draft stock. The linebacker play is one thing that we have said it needs to get better, be consistently better. And the way that Sonny Styles has really progressed rather rapidly at linebacker, and with Cody Simon being the block O and playing the best year he's ever had at Ohio State, those two guys where that was one time the weakest link, and maybe if it is the weak link, I don't think it is right now, because of the way that those two guys are playing. And you have Sonny Styles and Cody Simon that can do anything you need them to do at the linebacker spot. Are they good in stopping the run? Yes. Do they have great instincts? Yes. Do they have great speed and go and be able to go on the sideline? Yes. Are they good in pass coverage? Yes. All of those things are things that those two guys check all the boxes. And with Sonny Styles having his experience at the safety spot, let's just say that Ohio State wants to tweak a little bit and put him back at nickel, have to move Jordan Hancock maybe, and talk about that later on in the week, because that might be something Ohio State might have to do. You put in Arvell Reese, yeah, he's a third guy there in that room, but he can come in and be really, really good. Where the linebacker spot was really weak, that's becoming one of the stronger points of any position group on the entire team. The secondary, I got questions about the corners, not so much saying over and over getting beat, but I got questions about why people are consistently going at Denzel Burke. I think I know, because there are times in one-on-one coverage where he is not getting his reads aren't, I won't say his reads, a half second slow. Sometimes eye discipline is not the best, but those are things that can be fixed. Sometimes it might just be a technique thing. Sometimes it just might be a one-off thing where, oh, this team went at him, let's try it. And you try something you normally don't do, and it works. That may happen every now and then. But what we have seen from this defense over the past few weeks since that Oregon loss is a defense that has been re-engineered, that has been challenged, and they're rising up and saying, we know we had issues in the past. These are the things you're going to do moving forward. You're getting better play across the board. You're getting great linebacker play for Cody Simon and Sonny Styles. You're getting more pressure on the quarterback. You're getting guys like Tuimoloau and Tyleik Williams and Sawyer that are saying, you're going to challenge us. We're going to step up and be challenged, even getting some great help from guys like Cade McDonald off the bench. Can't forget Lathan Ransom and Cody Simon that are two solid guys in the Buckeyes defense. The Buckeyes defense is playing elite. They've only given up 1 touchdown in 3 games. And over the next few weeks, 3 more games in the regular season. You realize if you lose 1, you're probably not going to the Big Ten championship. So my expectation for the Buckeyes defense going forward is to continue to play the way that they have over the past few weeks, to tweak some things, use that re-engineered defense to show everybody y'all can have no success against Ohio State's defense, because we have guys at every level that are playing better ball and that are going to make that day a nightmare for you. Thank y'all for tapping into Locked On Buckeyes here on this Victory Monday and making it your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast, because my guy, Craig Sheeman, puts the Big Ten first when everyone else overlooks it. Find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. To those of you that are Buckeye basketball fans, you're going to start to filter in some Buckeye basketball shows right here on the YouTube and on any audio podcast platform. The home opener is tonight, 6 o'clock. It's on Big Ten Network. Tap into it. You're going to see some new faces. If you didn't watch the first game against Texas, you're going to see a new face on the sideline in Jake Diebler. So a lot of transfers in. The season is expected to be really, really good. The energy and intensity they're going to play with is going to excite you. Things we've been saying about this team for a few years now. They're going to actually start doing those things. But also Meechie Johnson, Ohio kid, originally was at Ohio State. He transferred out. He transferred back in. So he is one of those guys that's in the starting lineup, but I have high hopes for the young Meechie Johnson this year at Ohio State. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. We're up out of here on a Victory Monday. We'll see you next time.